Hello, welcome to week 6 of 40-week series that supports the parents of toddlers through the second year after their cochlear implant who have received their cochlear implant before the age of 2 years. If you wish to download the full resource from our website, the link is given below. So let's jump into the goals for this particular week. Starting with auditory goals, focus on auditory memory of prepositions. Remember earlier we had done auditory memory of nouns, then we worked on auditory memory of verbs. Now we are working on auditory memory of prepositions. So you use that language with your child in such a way that there are two prepositions and he remembers both in a sequence. For example, the monkey is sitting on the tree and the dog is sitting under the tree. Coming to receptive language goals, this time our receptive language goals are to understand the language of plurals. So we are introducing plurals. So your child should understand that when you are using plural, it means more than one. So use those words with S in the end to make it plural. For example, dogs, ducks, dolls, donkeys. So when you say S, that the child should understand that it is more. So for example, you say monkey is sitting on the tree, monkeys are sitting on the tree. So when you are using that language, put little stress on that particular word so that the child's attention is drawn towards that. For example, you say monkeys are sitting on the tree. Coming to expressive language goals, your child should be using prepositions. Remember, we had been doing the prepositions earlier in on, under, up. Again, we are repeating. So the child should use some prepositions within his language when he speaks. Also, he should also check that your child is asking the question, where? I know these are being repeated. We had the same goals earlier also. But children need time to express and to use the language what they understand the language. Therefore, talk to your child in such a way that the child asks the question, where? Create the need to ask the question where and prompt and encourage him to do that. Coming to speech goals, expect your child to use "the" in the words now. We had been working on "the". For example, dog, duck, doll, dig, donkey, all these in which "the" comes, the child should be using at least some of the words with "the" correctly. If the child does not use that constantly, then you go into babble, two-syllable babble of the word "the". For example, the da 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 dee 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 dink, da 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 do 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 dog. Like that, you make a rhyme type, singing type, where you're babbling "the" in certain words, and your child tries to imitate, and the child learns to use the word "the". Okay, so what next story? What story do we recommend? This week, the recommended story is about birds. Why? Because this week, the theme is on the tree. Also, when we say birds, "the" comes in the middle of the word. Also, there is auditory bombardment of the sound "the" again. So when you go through the book, you will be talking about the birds and you will say the bird. Also, you will be introducing now "the" in the final stage when you will say bird. When you will say parrot is a bird, so "the" comes in the final position. So you see, in speech, we are working on the same sound in three different positions: initial, medial, and final. but we expect the child to use an expressive language only in the initial stage. So let's see what more books we can use to reinforce the language of plurals and prepositions. There's a book, Go Dog Go. This book is recommended for this week. You can understand because of the dog. So this is a story about dogs. You can make up your own story with the picture, saying that this is the story of dogs. Dogs went out to play. And then what happened? One dog went up on the house and 3 dogs went down in the water. So you say, one dog went, the child says up. 3 dogs went down, the child says. Here, the yellow dog went up on the house and he said, it's very hot here. But the dog sitting under the house said, it's not hot. So making up a story like that. Also, you can talk about lot of dogs. So 3 dogs went into a boat. So the dogs went into a boat. Okay, and there were a lot of dogs going up and down. So then you can use any page. The dogs are going in the cars. They are racing in the car. So like this you can make up. There's another book, Good Night Moon. You have already used that book earlier. So you can use to check if the child is using prepositions. Now, where are the socks? On the stand. And again, where is the rabbit? In the bed. Where is the comb? On the table. Where are the stars? Up in the sky. So the child does not have to say the brush is on the table, the comb is on the table. Just the phrase on the table, on the house, under the house, in the bed. So this will help the child to use those prepositions. Now, song. What song you can sing now? 2 little dicky birds, very easy. 2 little dicky birds sitting on a wall, one named Peter, another named Paul. So these songs, when you sing, you are using again the, again birds, again the, initial, middle. So there is lot of input on the sound the, giving to the child meaningfully through stories, songs, and interactions. Remember last time we did ducks, so 5 little ducks, now 2 little dicky birds. We are introducing even the 2 different places. Tips. Okay, so what is the first tip I have written down for you is use the same book which you used in the first week. Are You My Mother? Now check when you are reading that aloud to the child. Leave lot of fill in the blanks and ask questions and see your child remember that. Is he using more language than before or not? Make a note of it. Another tip is about plurals. There are 2 types of plurals, regular and irregular. Regular plurals are where we add s or es at the end of the noun. Irregular plural are where the whole word changes. For example, you say ducks, dogs. There is s in the end. But when you say houses, horses, sandwiches, you are putting es in the end. And if you say children, feet, then you are using entirely a different word. So these 3 stages, we take one at a time. At this stage, we work on the first easiest one where you add s in the end. So talk about more words where S is there, dogs, ducks, same what we were talking about since last. Okay, what other tip I can give you? Yes, in speech, expect the child to use the in some words, not in all words. Expect the child to use prepositions in some sentences, not all sentences. It's learning curve happening now. So slowly it will happen 100%. At present, it cannot be 100%. So don't start giving formal speech corrections to your child if the child is not using the properly. If the child is substituting "t" for "d", it's okay for some time. Then give the auditory input of "d" properly, 3 inputs and out. Remember, 3 is a golden rule. If your child is not making correction, even after listening 3 times to you, the child may not be ready and needs lot of more bombardment, auditory bombardment, and lot more interaction and input. So work on that. Thank you for those who have written the comments and given the feedback. I suggest you try these activities at home and see what works for you. Let me know what works for you. Okay. Subscribe to Cochlear India YouTube channel and remember to press the bell icon so that you get the notification for the next episode. See you next week.